grandfather was Alfred Marks. He lived in Bradley, but not in the settlement, and he raised raspberries. He employed quite a few Indians during the summer by raising those raspberries. He never went to school, but he learned to write his name and to read. He could read the Indian Bible, and I can't do that. And he was also an evangelist. And my grandfather, Pokagon, was an alcoholic, and he died as an alcoholic because he burned himself. And the house didn't burn, just where he was the only thing that burned. And my grandmother raised her 2 boys, and then she raised some of the other pigeon boys because another family had so many people in their family, so she raised 2 of those boys. And until they were big enough to take off for themselves. And I don't know what else to say.
Which Pokagon was it?
Alex Pokagon.
Didn't know him.
He was a cousin of Juliet's.
Maybe talk a little bit about the baskets you're making.
Well, we've made baskets, both of us, since we were children. And my mother always had a big bunch of splints. My dad would always get some for her. If he didn't get them for her, well, she'd get them herself. She could do everything. My mother could. But I was not her favorite child. I have to say that. I was a scapegoat for everybody else. But anyway, she was a very religious person. We had to go to church in Salem in the morning and then hurry up and eat our dinner and then take off for Bradley and go to church in the afternoon and at night again. And we had to sit still, and everybody had to be right in church. So when I got the chance, and my mother died when I was 11 years old, I didn't go to church anymore because I got tired of sitting in church. It took me a few years before I went back, probably about maybe 5 years, and then I went back where I had a little bit more liberty. So I've been going ever since, and I'm a United Methodist Traditional Indian. That's what I call myself. And I love all the Indians. Used to work in the Department of Social Services, and I went to school in Bronson Hospital in Kalamazoo and became an LPN. And before that, I worked in Allegan General Hospital for many years as a nurse's aide and everything else. Except I didn't dare to work in a kitchen because I always got bigger and bigger. So I thought I'd better not work in a kitchen. I worked in the laundry and I worked in housekeeping. I was a nurse's aide, and I finally became the LPN. Worked there for 5 years and went to the Department of Social Services. And I didn't know that what he was talking about, these squabbles. I think he waited until he couldn't hear anymore to start in on me. So, but I had bought a house so I can go in the back room, and when he starts, I go back there.
You can still play ball.
Oh, I can still hit that ball, yeah. I played last year, the last time on the league. They put me on the roster this year, but I...
Bonjour. Nadijnakas Ningabi Anungdakwa. Mina Tony Annette Medewis is my English name. And I come from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm Huron, Bodewadomi, and Gun Lake, Bodewadomi. Odawa, I am also Grand River here in Grand Rapids. So this is Tony Medewis, like I said, and they want me to speak today about the 1999 Bodewadomi Scholars Institute that we attended, Aunt Irene and myself. Back in the day now, we didn't have money for the tribe, and people didn't come to meetings, people didn't hardly, you know, do a lot of things because they didn't know where the next money was coming in. And that's when the Chivas boys got a hold of Joellen and myself, and we started working for the tribe, bringing everything together, federally recognizing the tribe and seeking and attaining multi-million-dollar grants for the tribe. We're up and running today, some 20 years later, on the Firekeepers Casino in Marshall, Michigan, which is a Native American enterprise that we want to keep going, and we want to also match every grant money that comes into the tribe because we can do it nowadays. The language that I've learned since I was young, I'm city Indian, I'm not reservation Indian. I come from the city and I believe there is no difference. Depends on what in your heart, who you are and what you are. I come from old school about full bloods, and I say it in my Facebook all the time. You know, when we're gone, then everybody else can take over. But until that point, everything that we do in Indian country should be Indian sensitive and for the Indian community itself. We need to take care of our young people. We need to take care of our elder people. We need to take care of the widow and the widowers. They are the people that we have to take care of. I know it sounds like a bit like old time Christianity too, you know. They wanted to get at us so bad. They said we were so bad, we didn't know, you know, the English language, we didn't have English names, we didn't know nothing about Christianity. We had our own way of life. We had viable, constructed roadways back in them days when Christopher Columbus was lost out in the sea out there and bearing disease from England on them boats with rats infested. It was terrible. I'm glad that us in this generation didn't have to go through that, because those are the ones that I honor today. I honor all my elders. Also, to my Walpole friends and relatives, I heard the Bodewadomi gathering is going to be there this year. I miss being with all you people. I'm disabled and I usually stay home now. You know, I have 4 pit bulls and I have a big teepee, 2-story, 3-story house, you know, and thankful to have all of that. And I just only hope you guys all have a good time together, sing together, eat together, and just converse and make new friends always, always, always. Miigwech.
Nishnawbe no swin Mukdema Ingen. Sheke and Oro Huron Bodewadomi, Nottawaseppi, and Nishnawbe. How?
Yep.
Yes, I was told a long time ago that in order to be in contact with our spirit as Anishinaabe people, we had to learn our language and to learn who we are as Anishinaabe by having our spiritual name and addressing who we are as Bodewadomi, and that without that language there's no spirituality within our ceremonies. So we have to use that language to contact our Creator and honor those ancestors, so that our language is still going along with all of our traditional ways. Many of us are still learning and bringing that back for the next generation. Yeah, when I was younger, I remember Grandpa and Grandma speaking the language, but none of us understood what they were saying. Even my mom, she spoke some of the language, but they used it in slang ways. So we've carried a lot of that on, you know, with us as growing up. But a few years back, I had the privilege to going up to the UP, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where we have other bands of Potawatomis up there and other bands of Anishinaabe, which they're using their language a lot there. I got involved with firekeeping. Walter Michigan. They call him Wally Bear. He taught me a lot about the fire and to understand, learning that language, to have that communication with that spirit as we light that fire. I also had the privilege of working with Earl Michigan Sr. He's director of culture in Hannahville. He taught me a lot, and we also helped put lodges together up there, such as teaching lodges for the community. We've done over the years 2 or 3 ceremonies every year for the community and for our substance abuse programs there, and we're trying to help incorporate that here with the Huron band as I live here now. I was always told to learn that language to make that ceremony a spiritual way.
Bonjour Jayak, bonjour Wapo Island, relatives, bonjour Denme Maganadak, Edwagish go Kwamina, Ajwanik Kwan Dishnikas, Bodewadomi Kwan Dow, Bodewadomi Mina Odawan Dow, Athens, Michigan, Dochbia, Magisi O and Dodem, Mikchewian, Shota, as the cultural specialist for the Nottawaseppi Nakaninsa Mani Zapata. Use in my family. I heard more language was used with my grandmothers. I didn't get a chance to meet my grandfather on my father's side, which would come from the Chivas family bloodlines to this tribe here, and also Gun Lake as well. My father's father passed away when he was 18, and so I didn't get a chance to meet him. He was already gone. So the language use that I heard was used by my grandmothers, and they would use my one grandmother, my father's mother, Daisy Medewis Bun. She would use language, not as much as my other grandma would. My grandmother on my mother's side, Elma Mendoki Bun, she tend to use more language often within English sentences. So some words were used, but not all the time. I would hear her speak language fluently, but only when there was other elders around who could speak the language with her. However, my other grandma spoke words not too much, and again, when she would use language, she would speak it around, of course, other people who she could talk to. However, I did find out that I believe my grandmother on my father's side, so my grandmother wouldn't use that much language. I found out after working with the language program that her family was more affected by boarding school and removal from their homelands here. So I believe, or I think, that the reason why she might have used as much language was because maybe the memories of, I'm not sure what happened to her sisters and her brother and how that affected her. I never got a chance to ask my grandmas about how that boarding school era affected their families. I'm just kind of finding finding that out now through our studies in our program.
I have one question for you. How was the language treated that you believe during the times of your grandmother till now? Do you believe the language was respected? Is it revitalized to today? And how important is it to grasp that language from our old ancestors till now? Is it important? Is it on this verge of dying? How important is it to you, and how are we revitalizing that today?
Well, language use, again with my grandmothers that was spoken, I didn't really realize how often they used the language until I started studying about the language and reflecting on how the language was used in my family. And the language use today is it's very important that our people learn their language, because inside of the language is it shows our belief system as Bodewadomi people, Bodewadomi. The way that our words are structured, the way that the words are, what they translate to, and the meaning of the words. The revitalization efforts, I think, in the Bodewadomi bands is awesome. Because if you look at the language revitalization efforts within each band, we have, and I'll use words from one of my language instructors, we're starting to, and we've always had it, revitalizing that language again within our people, but you see the nests, the language nests, and those are words from one of my language instructors. Wanted to create a nest of speakers. And so when you sit back and look at all the language efforts, the work that's being done in all of the bands of Bodewadomis, the work is being done. The language is revitalizing itself somehow, some way. There's something that's going on, and I hope that our people realize that it is important to use the words, to use it every day. Even I myself have to buckle down and use words every day and not be scared to speak the language amongst each other, amongst ourselves, amongst our relatives when we see people. So hopefully with our band here we'll be able to continue those revitalization efforts within our band here. We're losing our elders fastly in our community, but we do have that next generation of elders who are in their mid-60s, who are still, with us, and we hope that we can interview them more, bring them in for classes, those ones that are kind of still quiet a little bit.
Bonjour, Lily Indisnikas, Bodewadomi and Dow, Michigan and Dutspia, Nottawaseppi and Yek, Damandaguas, how you miigwaj. Bonjour, Lily Indisnikas, Bodewadomi and Dow, Michigan and Dutspia, Nottawaseppi and Yek, Damandaguas, how you miigwaj. Hi, my name is Lily. I'm 11 years old, and the way I discovered to speak our native tongue was going to the language classes for about a year, and I've really enjoyed them, and now I am good at it, as some people say, but that's it.
Close up.
Bonjour, Wapo Island.
Bonjour, Javier Edis Nakas, Bodewadomi and Dad.
Bonjour, Jayak Ginwa. Nikan watuk indishnakas. Bodewadomi mine mukadendao. Nishwap tuk shech jak e pongasyan. Bodewadomi win e kendim yan odapageji. Mingwich, jaganao gogimge. Each and every one of us, and to all my relations at Walpole Island, and Dunwe Magneduk, I want to say bonjour to you as we get ready, Emajesh Noyak, we get ready to gather together for our 2017 Bodewadomi gathering. Hope to see you all. Bama Minengui Shka Jim Miyak. You enaj moyan no muk.